This is Dr. Ron's Word of Wisdom. Words on leadership, goal setting, and productivity, and a whole lot more. Consider this your vitamin and supplement for the mind, your heart, and your soul. Wherever you receive your podcast, would you go on and subscribe, especially iTunes? And if you find it that you would be willing to leave a review, I would greatly appreciate it. The more reviews there are, the more that others will find this podcast. The last time I was with you, we were talking about how do you define leadership, and I told you that there'd be a part 2. And putting this together, I believe there will actually be a part 2 and a part 3. But today, I want to just talk about the heart of a leader. Decide what you stand for, and stand for it all the time. Now, I know that it's very difficult to be consistent 100% of the time on everything, but it is essential, important, and valuable that a leader be consistent. And let's talk about the heart. In the Bible, when it talks about our heart, it's talking about all that goes into making me who I am, the totality of who I am. That's my heart. So when I'm leading from my heart, it's about passion. It's about every aspect of my life, all that goes into making me me. I have to put all of that into leading. But let me tell you a couple of things that are really valuable. A leader, at least from my perspective, has to influence through relationships and not just authority. Now, I know that if you're the leader of a business, church, company, even a family, there are times where you can have all sorts of input and you can have votes and you can have the discussion, and all of that is healthy and wonderful and you'll learn things. But if you're the leader of something, at the end of the day, someone has to make a decision. So I get that and I understand that, and I have quite a few times in my life exercised that part. But our first step, our kind of passion for leading, should be I want to influence people not because I'm the boss and not because I'm the authority figure. I want to influence them because they have confidence in me. They know that I love them. They know that I have their best interests at heart. So at whatever capacity you're leading today, seek to be an influential leader, someone who leads from relationships and not just authority. In the church world where I've worked most of my life, I have this saying that I say to pastors. If you have to tell the people in your church you're a leader because the little black book, our Constitution and bylaws, says you're the leader, I have news for you. You're not the leader, friend, if you have to tell people you're the leader. I don't care if you're in a business world or school or wherever. If you have to constantly be reminding people, I'm the leader. Hey, don't forget, I'm the leader. When you have to appeal to that, friend, there's something missing. There is a major hole or a major gap in your ability to lead. Now, there are all kinds of things. You can read all kinds of leadership books. But while we're on the matter of relationships, IQ, your intelligence is important. Learn, be the best that you can be mentally, get wisdom, knowledge, all of those things. But you ought to study up on the art of emotional intelligence. Look people in the eye. Read their body language. Tell when there are objections, even if they don't say, I object. Begin to read when people are uncomfortable. Seek to disarm them. Seek, if at all possible, to raise the comfort level. Learn to read people. Now, I've kind of gone on two different tracks here, but we need to be on both of them. If you're going to be a leader, it is both a matter of your heart and your mind. Your heart and your mind. We don't need leaders who just lead with their heart and leave their mind behind. And we don't need leaders who just lead with their mind but have no heart. Let me tell you what each of these represent in my way of thinking. If you're a leader who's leading from your heart, that has to do with your character. Your character is who you are, when no one's looking. Someone else said it's who you are in the dark when no one can see you. If you're a believer, God always sees you. And so we need leaders with impeccable character, people who do what they say and say what they do and mean what they say, and who honor and keep their word and are compassionate and caring. So if you're going to be a leader, you have to have character. Unfortunately, in our world today, at times there seems to be a dearth of character. You can't go to character store or character school and repair your character. Your character is who you are, day in, day out, making the right decisions, being the kind of person you say you are. So if you're going to lead with your heart, you have to be a person of character and integrity. But you also have to lead with your mind. You have to do some thinking. You have to do some reasoning. You have to do some figuring of things out. And mine has to do with competency. You have to be a competent leader. You have to know how to do your job. You have to study. You have to apply yourself. So hear me today on this Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. We need leaders who have married their heart with their mind, who have both character and competency. You absolutely need both. They are essential for you as a leader. Let me just talk for a moment before we get into even defining what a leader is and what it's about, and that'll be next time. I just want to remind you of the challenges that are there to be a leader. Now, there are challenges, but there are challenges in everything. Remember, there is no pain-free life. And every one of the challenges you can meet if you're a woman and man of character and competency. And here's our challenge as leaders. We kind of have to strike a healthy balance. We have to be strong without being rude. I don't have any problem being strong. It's probably my default position. I was in conversation with a person today who was explaining a situation, and I just immediately went to the end and said, this is what you need to do. Don't do that. Do it this way. And after I got off the phone, I got to thinking, he's in a different situation than where I've been lately. And I think the way he's doing it is really the right way. He really is marrying his heart and his mind. And so I had to call him back and apologize. That, yes, I want all leaders and any leaders that I am trying to lead to be strong, but there's no excuse for being rude. So that's our challenge as leaders. How do we remain strong but not rude? The second challenge that we have as leaders, we must be kind without being weak. You can be kind but not weak. And remember, there are some folks who take your kindness as a weakness that they can kind of work. We need our leaders who have married their heart and their mind, their character and their competency. We need them to be kind, but don't be weak. There are some times where the kindest thing that you can do is to tell the truth and to say it the way it is, and to say it strongly and firmly. But always seek to do the kind thing, but don't be weak. The other is like unto these two is, as a leader, you're going to have to be bold. There are times where you're going to have to step out and say, here we go, this is the way it is, here we go. But don't be a bully. Now, bully is becoming quite a common word. As a matter of fact, in the circles where I travel, if someone doesn't like an outcome or like the way you did something, they accuse you of being a bully. You have to guard against that you're not using your position, that you're not using your authority to bully people into submission. But don't be fearful of being called a bully to the point that you won't make bold and decisive decisions. When you know what needs to be done, when you know what God requires, when you know what is needed in the moment, we need bold leaders. Step out and be a bold leader. Another challenge for you as a leader is we need thoughtful leaders. Leaders who are reflective. Now, this is not my default. I am not very much an introvert. Introverts It used to be that I was glad I wasn't an introvert. There have been times in my life in the latter years I wish I could go sit with a cup of coffee in a corner and be thoughtful and prayerful and meditative and think my way through all of these. So be thoughtful. Think about what you're doing. Think about the course of action you're taking. But don't let that become laziness. There are some people who say, I need more time to think, I need more time to process. And it's just a cover up for being lazy and indecisive. So be thoughtful. Make sure you've checked all the information that is available to you. Sort it out. If you're a believer, go to prayer, be thoughtful, but don't use those as an excuse for your own fear and your own laziness. The next challenge for a leader is we must be humble without being timid. Yes, we must always know that when we're dealing with information, we may not at this moment have all the information that is necessary, but we have all that we have, or it's essential even. But be humble about the fact that no one person knows everything. But don't be one of those timid people who are afraid to make decisions, afraid that somebody's going to call them on something. Be a humble leader. Be open to the fact that if you receive more information, you'll make a mid-course correction. But don't be timid and afraid. The next challenge for the leader is you need to have some pride, but don't be arrogant. There's nothing worse than an arrogant leader, and most of the times an arrogant leader is not leading with their heart or their mind, with their character or their competency. They're leading from a position of authority. The bylaws of this organization say I'm in charge, and that's the way it is. It's all right to have pride in a job well done, pride in the work that you're doing, but don't allow it to become arrogant. The other thing that I think will help you immensely in leadership, and in the future I'll do a whole podcast or two on humor. Don't take yourself so seriously. Learn to laugh at yourself. Here's what I have discovered. The person who learns to laugh at himself will never run out of material. We as leaders are always saying or doing something that on reflection is quite hilarious. So use humor. Use self-deprecating humor. Don't make fun of other people. Put it onto yourself. Don't be afraid to use humor, but don't become foolish. There are times when I'm listening to a leader and it starts out really well. The humor is well placed and it relieves the tension, which is one of the greatest things that humor does. But they don't know when to stop. They just keep going until it evolves into foolishness. So your challenge is to use humor, but don't let it denigrate into foolishness. Here's the problem that I'm going to sum up with leading as we look at character and competency. Leadership, good leadership, is rarely observable in the moment. In the midst of the decision being made, where the emotions are high and people are on both sides, it's rarely observable. Really, good leadership is recognized mostly after the fact and in hindsight when we say, wow, that really was an exercise in good leadership. My friends, you're a leader. Wherever you are, you may not think you are, but you're a great leader, and I want you to be better. And would you keep tuning into these podcasts, Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom on leadership, goal setting, and productivity. Today in your life, will you just make the commitment that you're going to marry your heart and your mind? You are going to be a leader of character and competency. Please subscribe to this podcast, Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, and please leave a review. And until next time, have a blessed day, and you, my friend, are making a difference in this world.